Hey, what's up guys, Will here for GSMArena. If you like to play heavy games on the go, your average smartphone might not quite fit the bill. That's why we've made a list with some of 2022's best phones for gaming. Let's get started. We'll begin not with a dedicated gaming device, but a top flagship, Apple's iPhone 13 Pro Max. With the new iPhone, you get a very powerful chipset, Apple's A15 Bionic. And on top of that, there's access to Apple's extensive game ecosystem, and benefits like early releases and exclusive iOS titles. The 13 Pro Max has a 120Hz OLED screen to enjoy your content on. It's great, as long as you don't mind a notch cutout. The battery life here is much better than on the lower tier models, and the great stereo speakers make for an immersive experience too. Of course, you get plenty of other standout features as well, like great camera quality. You probably wouldn't get the iPhone 13 Pro Max just for the sake of playing games, but its gaming capabilities are worth keeping in mind if you're thinking about getting an iPhone. Now we'll move on to the actual gaming phones, devices built from the ground up with the gaming experience in mind, starting with Xiaomi's Poco F4 GT. The Poco GT series takes the flagship-killing Poco brand into dedicated gaming territory. Probably the most standout gaming-related feature is the retractable hardware triggers. You don't see these every day. They're clicky and responsive, and can give you an advantage in certain genres, like racing games or shooters. Another interesting feature is that there's a stereo setup with 4 speakers rather than 2, and they sound great. You also get a nice AMOLED display with a 120Hz refresh rate and responsive 480Hz touch sampling rate. Battery life on the F4 GT is just mediocre. Luckily, it has incredibly fast charging and can go from 0 to full in just 20 minutes. The phone also has flagship-grade silicon, a Snapdragon 8 Gen 1. Peak performance is excellent here, but even though there is a passive cooling system, we experience thermal throttling, along the lines of other current flagships. A cooling fan would help things out, but that's missing here. You also don't get extra gaming-related software options on top of what you already find on other Xiaomi phones. But still, with its attractive price, the Poco F4 GT is a great deal for gamers. Next, we have an alternative from Xiaomi, the Black Shark 5 Pro. Just like the Poco F4, you get pop-out physical shoulder triggers here. But the Black Shark 5 Pro brings more in-depth software features related to gaming. Again, you get solid gaming performance with a Snapdragon 8 Gen 1 chipset. Sustained performance is good too, better than the Poco, but the phone gets extremely hot to the touch. There's no cooling fan here either. On the front is an OLED display, and what's neat about this one is the extra fast 144Hz refresh rate. There's also a pair of excellent sounding stereo speakers, and nice haptic feedback even in-game. Just like the Poco F4 GT, battery life is hardly great, but the phone makes up for it with super fast charging. In the end, the Black Shark is very similar to the Poco, but it has the edge when it comes to the thermals and the screen refresh rate. Next, we have the Nubia Red Magic 7S Pro. This phone is a bit more recent than the Xiaomi's, featuring the new Snapdragon 8 Plus Gen 1 chipset for better performance. You do get a pair of shoulder triggers here, but rather than being retractable and clicky, these are flat and pressure sensitive. On top of that, the Red Magic 7S Pro has a built-in cooling fan. As you might expect, the thermal management here is better than the previous devices on the list, and sustained performance is great. There's also really good battery life, as well as fast charging. You get a bunch of gaming features and customization options too. There are stereo speakers for your audio, and the OLED display is fast and furious, with a 165Hz refresh rate and 720Hz touch sampling rate. Unfortunately, the support for high frame rate gaming isn't really there, and not many titles can go above 60 FPS. Also, we weren't impressed with the max brightness of this screen. It's not enough for good legibility outdoors. The cameras are nothing special either. They're the same as on the previous generation and feel a touch outdated. So while the Red Magic 7S has some great features to offer, like that cooling fan, it's not all upside here. The final phone on our list is probably the most obvious. It's Asus's ROG Phone 6 Pro. The ROG phones have always arguably been the top dog of the gaming phone scene, and their newest release, the 6 Pro, continues that tradition. The phone's design is quite unique, and you also get IP-rated splash proofing for the first time on an ROG phone. It's not a cheap device, but you get the whole package, including excellent battery life, fast charging, and a bright, flagship-grade AMOLED display. It has a 165Hz refresh rate and 720Hz touch sampling. There's also a display on the back, which can play back custom text or graphics while you're gaming. There's full support for high frame rate gaming here, plus the ROG phone has a pair of front-facing speakers, each with its own driver, and they sound great, and even come with game-specific functionality. The ROG Phone 6 Pro has a pair of ultrasonic shoulder triggers, which are quite versatile. You don't get a built-in fan here, but Asus offers an active cooling fan that you can attach to the back. It's very effective, and although performance is excellent already thanks to the latest Snapdragon 8 Plus Gen 1, the active cooling unlocks the full potential. The problem is the fan doesn't come included, you have to buy it separately on top of an already expensive device. The gaming-related tweaks and options on the ROG Phone 6 Pro are some of the most in-depth around. You can even dive so deep into the hardware settings that you potentially break the phone. And finally, rather than being just an afterthought, the cameras here are pretty decent. The ROG Phone 6 Pro is excellent all around, but you do have to pay a flagship price. If you do have the money to spend, yet again, Asus has come out with a mobile gaming powerhouse. So there you have it, guys. If you're looking for something a little extra to spice up your smartphone gaming experience, I hope this list has you pointed in the right direction. Thanks for watching, stay safe, and see you on the next one.